more about, but what makes PulseX special? Like, why is it not just another Uniswap? Why is it not just another, like, what makes it hard for any other DEX to compete with it, especially on PulseChain?
Well, one of the main narratives that a lot of people seem to have forgotten, which never really changed, is that it's the main DEX, so it has the most volume. It has the most liquidity. So basically the biggest and the baddest. Like, if you want to make a good buy, you can go to other DEXs for certain items, but basically no matter what, even if people built 1 million DEXs around this chain, and this thing is so loaded with liquidity that it's always going to see volume. It's always going to see arbitrage. It's built by Richard Hart, so we know it's as limited for admin keys as possible. Like, nothing has changed about this. And when we go back and look at the test net, a lot of people have forgotten the features that are actually buried in the code. So we're not currently using the DAO. There is a lot of problems that are inherent with managing DAOs. But in the test nets, and I'm pretty sure in the contract still, I haven't gone through the code, but I forget if it was Gold Key that was commenting on it, but the DAO is still in the code. So the voting DAO could be used to allow people to pick which tokens or vote for which pairs get the incentive token, instead of them being controlled by some anonymous private entity, OA or whatever. Instead of whoever is directing it unifiedly, all of a sudden the community decentralized can decide what pools and pairs should be incentivized instead of the current ones, or on top of the current ones. It gives some option for basically that originally in the design, 10 million was supposed to be the voting share if you had 10 million tokens. So basically 30 million tokens to give you 3 voting shares. Like, that was the original dynamic in the test net that I was aware of. Again, we don't have a DAO currently, but there's room for it. I'm pretty sure that Brotep has made communications with, or I probably mispronounced that, but with Corey, I've seen on Twitter that they are still working. They're building stuff. They just don't have to tell us what they're building. There are not our employees. They're not our bosses. They don't have to communicate. They can just add the features. And the original on testnets and the different versions, we had limit orders. We had a functional DAO, which makes it a very decentralized beast. And then we've got the ability for single-sided staking, theoretically, which if people wanted to promote their projects and distribute them in a way, it gives you an option. I'm not sure how successful it's ever been on PancakeSwap. I know some people were super excited for it, but for me, it was just so I get dump tokens. Like, I was never that excited about the single-sided staking as I was the fact that a giant, huge liquidity DEX at the heart of a chain that was going to make lots of fees from swaps. That's a lot of real world income. It's not as exciting as 10,000 X's, but it blows the crap out of a 5% T-bill. And wow, like, so I've been providing liquidity in a certain pair, and I've watched my pool, because of this crab market, grow 50% in size worth of tokens. It's not quite a 2x, but yeah, that blows the crap out of anything you get at Wall Street. It's practical, it's reliable. I probably play it a little too safe around the chain, but I like something that I can actually evaluate. So I can anticipate that based on Uniswap, like, yeah, maybe in some ways it is just another Uniswap. Like, what makes it special? That the creator of the chain doesn't like to lose. He's got an ego, and I doubt he's done building. He's got money to fund devs for all of life. So, no expectations. But hey, I'm pretty sure people are still working on upgrades for it, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen. But right now, maybe it's not that special right now, other than it is the giant place of liquidity. And no matter what's going on in other pairs, eventually you're going to have to arbitrage with this. So it's going to see volume. So its buy and burn is going to work. And it's not just burning off tokens, it buys them up. It does push the price up. Because essentially the same way in reverse that I'm talking about, if this was a real whale or actual players in the system, and we had another dose of SEC FUD, well, that is 600 billion tokens plus that could have dumped into liquidity. And if you do the math on how much that tanks the price, that drops it down at least 50% from here. And that gives you an idea of how much the buy and burn has given effort or impact to PulseX potentially. It's not an accurate way to assess it because of the price changing on different days of buying, but it gives you a rough idea. If it were able to sell and you did dump that in liquidity, how badly would it affect price? And yeah, it could move it down 50%, but guess what? It can't sell because it deleted it all. That makes it pretty damn special because Uniswap doesn't want to share any of their fees with token holders. They don't give a crap about their token holders. You're just exit liquidity. That's it. And everyone's okay with that arrangement over here. And this arrangement is, no, we're treating you well and we give you a cut of the profits if you want to hold some of the tokens. Just through buybacks. You don't get dividends. Sorry, we're not that Wall Streety, but you get buybacks, constant buybacks. And you can be a participant in the buybacks. The rewards and bounties usually aren't that exciting. It's like a few thousand PulseX at a time. But, you know, if it ever does go, finally we get our 1,000 or 10,000X, well, that's potentially $10,000 at a time. Like, I am accumulating. I haven't sold a single token, and I love it. I love these cheap prices. I have been very, very happy to see them because I really don't believe they'll last. Sorry, I'm all ranty and excited, but like, what makes it special? Yeah.
No, that's I think one of the most underrated bullish things too is that it doesn't look like the $1 billion product yet. It doesn't look like the thing that has all the bells and whistles. Like that's the most, to me, that again, it's the whole mindset of seeing potential versus seeing like again, if you rewind any kind of investment, any kind of crypto or otherwise, and you look at something that's cheap but has a lot of potential, and you believe that the potential will come to fruition, that is always the best time to buy. Like historically speaking, it is always the best time. So every time somebody looks at something and it's like, oh, it's what does this do that something else does? Oh, it's got to buy. Okay, whatever. And it just kind of gets brushed away, all these. And then the whole nuance is lost of this is built by a guy who's in it for glory. It's got a community who ain't going away. We've been beaten down so much that how much lower can I'm not going to test the price gods or anything, but it's one of those things like what more potential could you possibly ask for?
Yeah, really, because I mean, one of the sad facts, like at the top of the bull market, people are selling their houses to leverage down on those tops because psychologically they're doing the most insane wrong thing they can. And we all laugh about it. We see it now. We're like, yeah, that was such a top signal. Yeah, they shouldn't have done that. That was so stupid. Well, there would have been a right time to do that, wouldn't there? Yeah, when would that be? Can you pull up the price chart right now, Max, and tell me how ugly this looks? This is when people usually just give up. I couldn't have invested in a worse thing. I have to give up on life. This is it. I've ruined everything. I am a failure. I should never touch crypto again. You know, I'm not saying, sell your house on leverage, but this would be the time to do it if you're going to be doing it in the bull market. This is the time to do it before everyone else gets there. Like blood in the street.
Can we play the angel music? Can we play the angel music? Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, like I basically like I call like it's been a brutal market, and I never called tops on the hex, but every single bottom we had on the way down, I called. I could see it. And there was always the exact same like formations and little things that were all just adding up. And, decreased volume. Nobody gives a crap. It literally looks abandoned. It's dead. This is it. Stick a fork in it. It's never coming back from here. It's just going to drop to zero. And boom, a whale buys.
It's so crazy to see it go down that much. And then,
if you look at the volume on Deck Screener, on the main pair, this is what's so scary. There's barely like 20K volume a day. I'm talking about millions for Pulse. There's barely 20K volume a day. When you're looking like, yeah, pull up PulseX pool, a big one. And yeah, look at that volume. What do we, oh, 500,000? That's actually exciting. That's actually a little, that's a little up. But we can see through the volume bars, basically. Like, I'm used to checking in on all those low days, not the spike days. But we see like a lot of days of very low volume, and you can shrink that out to, instead of the 1 hour, to the days, or even the 3 day. And there you can see like the volume picked up, but as it's dropping again, everyone's lost faith. And basically when volume gets to its lowest, that's when we get seller exhaustion. I shouldn't be giving this secret to everyone, but when you get the seller exhaustion, there's no more sellers. Well, it's waiting for either, it's just sitting there waiting, is a seller or buyer going to come up, and we get run-ups. Like when we start to see the actual volume finally taper off enough, we get another run-up, because the sellers have, the weak hands have pretty much exhausted themselves for the time being, at least. And we've had a lot of weak hands, a lot of lettuce getting out of there. So basically, this is starting to correlate now, though, with like meme coins, with the loss of Bitcoin dominance.